25th day in the month of August, a Thursday it is. It's a pleasure to have you join us for this interesting conversation and program that airs every weekday from 8 o'clock till sometimes some few minutes before 10. And I usually like to add the caveat that the day the market is good, it's usually way shorter than 10 a.m. That is the end time for the program usually. But we're glad you make us your go-to radio station for everything politics, for everything talk, and everything music as well. I mean, it's just a you could call it a tripod of a whole lot to put together when it comes to radio. So this is Splash 106.7, the Integrity Station. Let me also let you know that we're live on Facebook as we speak, so you can catch up in terms of how the conversation progresses this morning on that particular platform. At Splash FM 1067 is the handle you input into your search bar, and it takes you straight to the landing page, and you can see the audio visual or be a part of the audio visual to this experience. I am Benga Fayom, and our ride solo this morning, it just seems as though it was what happened yesterday, and so today would not be left out in some sort of way, but you can be sure that you get the very best in terms of the conversation altogether. So, this program has two segments. For those who are joining for the very first time, there's the issue of the day segment. We'll pick an issue that is topical in nature and just dissect it with the aid of a resource person, or some of the times an analyst to help us do justice, which is the way and the direction the program will go this morning. And at 9 o'clock, would have the second segment called From the Pages. We'll browse through what the papers are saying for that point in time or for that day. And our analyst also helps us to make a sense of those headlines, as many as we can accommodate in the time that we have allocated for that segment of the show. So, like I said, it promises to be an exciting conversation. So all you have to do is grab your favorite beverage, or as you go about your business of the day, and sure to stay tuned here because there's a lot you would enjoy all together. So, getting into it straight away in terms of the issue of the day. To take us to Osun State today, and we'll be talking about the proposed local government elections in that state. So, here we go. The upcoming Osun State local government election set for the 15th of October 2022 has been met with negative reactions from the opposition party, that's the People's Democratic Party, and members of the public. The chairman of Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, OCEC, Otumba Shegun Oladiton, stated that the election shall be on presidential system, whereby chairman of local government council shall be elected directly and the ward councillors shall be elected separately. The PDP, alleged to be working in the interest of the people, have strongly opposed the election, describing it as illegal, as it is a flagrant disregard for the rules of conduct of elections as enshrined in the new Electoral Act as amended, and stressing that the election is targeted at wasting the resources of the state. This morning, we analyzed the forthcoming Osun State local government elections and all that concerns it. And we have with us this morning Eddy, Aina, to help us make a sense of everything that will be talked about this morning. Sir Eddy, thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Bengan. Hello out there.
All right, I should also let you know that I reached out to the parties involved in the major parties, if you may, involved in local government elections in Osun State. I'm talking about the party of the incumbent governor, Adigboyega Otola, led by the chairman, Mr. Gboyega Famodun. I hope I got that pronunciation correctly. And I also reached out to Dr. Adekunle Akindele, who is the chairman, the PDP Caretaker Committee in Osun State. As regards Mr. Gboyega Famodun, that's the chairman of APC in the state, he said that he doesn't want to talk about anything local government elections until there's a decision reached. What he meant by that, I don't exactly know, but that is exactly how he put it, okay? And then I've been trying to reach the chairman of the PDP in the state, is the chairman of the PDP Caretaker Committee. I'm talking about Dr. Adekunle Akindele. Initially, he did tell me yesterday that I was going to revert by 6, but I've been calling since that time, and he has not responded. So for the sake of balance and to also let you have a big picture and let you know how far we've gone in having this conversation, so it's important to lay that background. So, Eddy, you heard, I don't know if I believe you've been following the developments in Osun State, basically. My first question is, does it feel, because the PDP is expressing fears that the incumbent governor and the APC wants to waste the state's resources to have local government chairman as well as councillors elected on the October the 15th of this year. Do you think those fears are founded from the part of PDP?
One peculiar characteristic, of governors leaving office is the fact that more often than not, they tend to erect a barricade, a barrier. They tend to make governance very difficult for their thousands, and expecting that whoever is coming in, would bear the brunt, especially when the economy is not smiling. It's either they sell some the concessions, some legacy projects. It's either they sell some other things, belonging to the state, or they waste the money of the state or award contracts towards the tail end of their regime. Whereas democracy is for the people, and by the people. If our elected officials, think deep to somebody, it's just in the interest of the people. It's just not something that is selfish. It's not because this man coming in, yes, I lost the election and I've had my 2 terms and I just want to create a barrier, create a barricade for this man. Because we've seen it even here in Ogun State. Right. It's either some people were appointed and the person coming in is saying, no, I have no business with this. He appointed them towards the tail end of my regime and he wants to create a barrier for me because where do I get the money to pay? Or some people are promoted, some civil servants. And the question is, why have these actions, these activities not taking place at the right time when they were there? What, for instance, look at Osun State, for instance. What was the governor looking at? I mean, because, yes, he was in office 8 years, with Tarek Beshola as the chief of staff. Right. And so he knew virtually everything that transpired at that point in time. What has stopped him, from holding impositions, bad treatment of the federal government? They tend to forget the fact that they mete out the same thing to the local governments. Yes, they too shortchange the local government. They too treat the local. In fact, virtually, the local governments have been emasculated. So, in other words, they have no role to play. In fact, for me, I do not think there are local governments in Nigeria again, because look at it, virtually everything they ought to do. Look at parks, parks, collection of money, from parks. Right. It's being handled by them. Some of them handle the markets and all that. These are things the local government should be doing. Even the roads. I recall in this state, in the 80s, some local government were constructing bridges, culverts, even constructing roads and all that. That is the role of local government because they are the nearest to the people. But unfortunately, the governors have emasculated all of them. If I recall, Akeredolu saying, as far as it's concerned, there cannot be autonomy for local government in Ondo State because the states ought to supervise the local government. How can you have supervisory role when the people are not suffering? The monies that are allocated to them, more often than not, because of this joint account, they are shortchanged. In fact, at a point in time in this state, I know local government were just handed some money, maybe take care of your salaries and, so they are not really performing the role they are supposed to perform. So back to your question, I feel it's a wrong way to go. Okay. I mean, the Oyetola ought to have vacated. Look, just go straight away. It is for service. Whoever is there, whether you are there or not, things will go on. So I do not know why governors, because if you do this now, it means the individuals that are going to be elected, that is the chairman and local government, and there is this controversy over whether it's parliamentary system of government or presidential system of government. Yeah, parliamentary system of government, you all go and contest, and you appoint a leader, and the councillors. But in this presidential system of government, now the chairman will contest on their own, and the councillors align with them and all that, and are elected too. So it's so incredible. In the final analysis, the people suffer, because if you spend the state's money to organize this election, you are going to spend monies that are meant to be spent elsewhere, for developmental purposes. Not only that, they spend 3 years there, and from examples we have seen. Makinde went to, as soon as Makinde came in, so many governors have done that. But the courts have upturned them. Say, no, you cannot remove them because they have a 3-year tenure.
Right.
Even in Makinde did it. Although the judges were clever, they said, okay, we cannot force them there, although they can force them back there. But it can create problem in the state because they have supporters. The governor has his supporters. They now say, okay, fine. Go and pay them every kobo that they ought to have had, well, if since you remove them, so who suffers? The state suffers. So it's sad, that the governor is arranging it. Whether they like it or not, they will spend 3 years if this election takes place. And I don't see how the election is not going to take place. It can only be stopped by the courts. But don't forget that when you talk of the National Assembly, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and you come back to the state Houses of Assembly, whatever they do in that assembly cannot be queried. In law, once it was then passed, and once they pass a bill, to an act, it goes through the normal processes, read first reading, second reading, and, they take it to the people, a public hearing and all that. You cannot, the court of law will be careful, to upturn it. So that's the problem. And in their own case, they are now saying, yes, we have our state assembly has enacted the law, and the governor has passed it. So that's why I feel people should be careful. When governors, if you lose election, go home. It's not a family affair. Right. Go home and you can even be, useful, to the people of the state in so many areas. But here in Nigeria is let me create problems for the man, and it's not working.
All right, I'll sometimes during the course of the conversation talk about that disparity of the presidential system, the parliamentary system. But then, in his own response, the state chairman of the Osun Independent Electoral Commission, Olusegun Dunton, did say that, or did give reasons why they didn't have the elections earlier than this.
He did.
And in his words, he said there was COVID-19
and SARS.
Yes,
I know.
I mean, a few other things. I mean, some will feel the effect of COVID-19 in terms of being locked down and all of that should have been a matter that's been put in the past. 2021,
yes,
thereabout, and now this is 2022, and then it's just trying to. I mean, do you buy that excuse?
No, I don't, because even elections were held in so many places. But one thing with our governors, they are comfortable all over Nigeria. It's not even Osun, it's not Ogun, they are comfortable running government without the local government. They prefer doling out, some money to them and, riding roughshod, over local government. That has been the style. So more often than not, they don't like, organizing elections, genuine elections. And if and when those elections were organized, they pick everything from the chairmanship to the councillors. In some states, when they are magnanimous enough, in quotes, they just give them one councillorship position or 3 councillorship positions. They want to hold on. In any case, the local government, the governors want to hold on to the local government because they are the grassroots people. They know the people and they know how to mobilize them. And so no governor wants to lose the local government. But we have seen cases where governors, where some government, some parties win local government chairmanship position. It doesn't make any difference. The thing is, the man will be responsible for the governance of his state. So, more often than not, when elections are organized, they win everything, and that's the mentality. And some people have even argued that we should allow INEC to conduct elections at local government level,
right?
So as to create a level playing ground. But it's unless the law is repealed and remade, reenacted, it cannot happen that way. And even the INEC too is not willing to conduct, to add that to his own problems, in quotes. Yes, because INEC has enough problems to handle, so they don't even want to come. But when governors organize local government elections, they win virtually everything. That's the more reason why he wants to organize this election before leaving office. So it's neither here nor there.
Okay, now that you mentioned the part where INEC, of course, doesn't conduct the local government elections in Nigeria
not yet.
Across the 36 as we have it as of today. The question in this regard then would be that you mentioned how or maybe you also lean towards the opinion that several people have also expressed in terms of having INEC to conduct it. But you also did say that they have a whole lot on their plate, and so it might be pretty difficult to add that to their burden in some way. Should the lawmakers at the federal level consider this, or you think? I mean, there have been allegations of interest from the part of the lawmakers as well, and the fact that they also have to dance to the tunes of the state governors as to why they would just keep quiet about this and not, venture into it at all.
Honestly, I think lawmakers across the board, should be debriefed or should be properly be briefed, enlightened, and educated on their role, as legislators, whether at the state level or at the national level. More often than not, and I've conversed this, elsewhere, that it is high time we started focusing more on the people we elect at the federal level as lawmakers, as senators, as House of Representatives members, or as members of state houses of assembly. Why? Because more often than not, we focus on the governor, on the president, on the governor.
Those in executive.
Those in executive arm of government.
Right.
You see, the fact remains that the legislators are the most important. Yes, but unknown to all of us, we just allow, Tom, Dick, and Harry to go in there once the person has the money to be part of an electoral process and all that. The problems militating against the proper functioning of this government or this our own federalism can be better handled at that level by the Senate or the House of Representatives.
Right.
Look, Senegal, the house in Senegal, the upper house in Senegal, was removed because the lawmakers agreed. The president said $50,000. Why will I be wasting this on the upper chamber? We don't need them. And the lawmakers agreed. And by Job, today, they only have one house.
A unicameral
legislature.
Right.
And now they are saving the money in the interest of the people. But try it here. So many people have canvassed, even including Korosha. So many people have canvassed. Look, let's reduce this thing to one, or let's make it, a sitting arrangement, whereby whatever time you sit, you take your money and you take the sitting allowance and go, instead of this monumental waste leakages that we have at the national level. But they will not enact that law. The National Assembly members, they won't do it because they know it will reduce their number. Politicians are very self-conceited, very selfish. They look at issues not from the supranational angle.
Right.
In other words, they won't look at it from the patriotic angle, from the nationalistic angle. What happens to our own country? How would our youth, restive youth, how would they get jobs? How do we develop infrastructurally? How do we ensure that the money we earn, is in the interest of the just talking, but they won't do it. So, yes, if they do it, if we concentrate on our lawmakers, so many things that have happened to this country. Okay, look at local government election, state policing system.
Right.
We all know. In fact, recently, the National Assembly members, before they went on recess, they were saying, look, let's do something to state policing system. Let's devolve powers, to the states, to the local states. Let states, handle it.
Right.
Because they are now being affected. Look at so many of them have been attacked. That commissioners, even the rascals are even threatening to, kidnap our president and Erufai and all that. It's then they're now thinking that the security situation is so bad. Now, when the House of Representatives met on state policing system, they even voted they voted against it, 14 against 11. Because they are not looking at the issues. Everybody is being kidnapped. You cannot travel from Lagos to Ibadan, even small places. Everybody is being kidnapped at home. And you are not thinking that delegating living. So, for me, we should concentrate on our lawmakers. In the US, if they take any decision, you go back to your Senate, to your senatorial district. They want to take this decision. How do I vote? Because that vote will count against you in the next election. Yeah. How did you vote on divorce? How did you vote on abortion? How did you vote on gun running? Immigration, racial issues and all that. How did you vote? And the voting is open, it's transparent. You all see it. because it's electronic. It will count. How did you vote? During the Monica Lewinsky
Scandal.
how did you vote? You know, so you go back and say, how do I vote? They don't come back here. When last have you seen your senator or your House of Representative member? You don't see them. So that's the more reason why we should look at people, you know, who can do it, who have the interest of the people at heart, so that they can. For instance, even the issue of the doctrine of necessity, they have to have applied it to two issues: the issue of devolution of powers to the state and the issue of state policing system. They don't, I mean, they did it under GEJ when GEJ was not allowed as the vice president, you know, to hold forth for Yaradua.
Right.
So more often than not, they should think nation, not the individual. So not individually, not so. So that's why I think they won't pass it. They won't pass that law. But that's what is good for us. They won't pass it.
All right, 22 minutes gone past the clock from the studio of Splash 106.7, the Integrity Station. This is Panorama. We're live on Facebook, so you could join the conversation. I see a lot of, a few comments, actually. I'm just saying hi to us from all over the world. We appreciate you a great deal. You can also make use of Twitter, by the way. The handle is at Splash FM 1067, at Splash FM 1067. We're looking at the Osun State local government elections. Well, the proposal to have it held on the October the 15th of this year. So that's what we're talking about. Like I did reference, and for the sake of balance and for context reason, I reached out to the chairman, the PDP caretaker committee in Osun State, Dr. Adekunle Akindele. As a matter of fact, I called him few minutes before we started the program, but he did not pick my call. So I also reached out to the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Osun State, Mr. Gboyega Famodun, and he said that he doesn't want to talk about it until there is a decision reached. What he meant by that, I do not know.
I think I know what he meant by that.
Oh, okay. Interesting then. You want to give some sort of hints as to what
yes, you know, because the election hasn't taken place. So commenting on it as the party chairman, you know, may be detrimental. You know, your opponents can use your anything against you. It's better to know to keep mute.
Okay, let's now look at the fact that this matter is before a federal high court in Oshogbo, and despite the fact that there is that pending suit, the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission has decided to go ahead with this election regardless, to announce that it will hold on October the 15th. Do you think this is the Independent Electoral Commission in this instance being very confident that, I mean, despite the fact that there's a pending suit, nothing would hinder their having to hold the local government elections?
Recall, you know, that the APC is claiming that all the uphill tasks, you know, have been, you know, brought down. That all the constraints, you know, have been brought down. Constraints of NSAS, constraints of COVID-19, constraints of litigation. He mentioned litigation. That there are so many litigation. For him, all those ones have been brought down, and the coast is now clearer for them, you know, to conduct that election. But they are hanging it on the fact that, because you will expect that in the APC, a party as big as APC, they will have senior advocates of Nigeria, you know, to advise them.
Right.
But one thing I know is that once the law is passed, normally, when you pass through all the three processes, the first reading, the second reading, the public hearing, and they now vote. They take it back to the plenary. They now vote, and they are able to make 2/3 of the members. And the governor assents to that bill. We've seen cases when a law was made within one day. The time in Zamfara State when Matawale needed to change his deputy,
Right.
because the deputy refused to go with him to APC. It was done within one day. They brought the case, they debated it, they voted, they sent it to the governor. He ascended to the to the remover, and they've already brought in a judge. They already have the next speaker and all that, the replacement, and they brought the judge. The judge, you know, swore in. That is the power of the governor. It's massive. It's enormous. It's confounding. It can be intimidating, you know, more often than not. So they are now hanging it on the fact that it has passed through all the processes, and for a judiciary to now say, because a party of course, you'll expect them to say everything wrong with any move by the APC. For them to now cancel the election, it's very difficult. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer,
Right.
but I'm just looking at it from the point of view, from the layman's point of view. In fact, more often than not, even when presidential elections are held, recall the last time PMB lost that election. It was alleged that he lost, alleged allegation
Right.
that he won that election because Justice Nikitobi presented, a neutral, judgment, one-man judgment. It's done. You say, okay, I disagree with this judgment. But it was much, much later that one man said yes, and even the PMB himself said it, that he won that election. And what do you adduce to it? What reasons do you give for it? Because more often than not, at that level, the judges agree, they concur, because one, they imagine, do we ask another election to hold? What is the financial implication of it? What of logistics? How does it impact negatively on INEC? Do you give another money to INEC? So more often than not, they say, okay, let it go. So I'm not saying they are going to do that.
Okay.
But the only reason is because it passed through every process and the governor ascended to it. I think that's the reason why they still want to go ahead despite the litigation.
The litigation. You don't think this can also, from the part of the court of law now,
Right,
and say something about interpretation? Because I hear lawyers say that as well. I mean, and say as a result of interpretation, then cancel the election. You don't think such scenario could also play out here?
Well, maybe it can be cancelled before. Maybe they can put a stop to it before it holds.
On the October the 15th.
The October
date.
15th date. If they can rush it through, but how do you rush it through? Don't forget that whichever way you want to look at it, just like in the US, the Supreme Court, they look at the ideology of the judge. What do you pander to? Is it the liberal, angle?
No, the conservative.
The conservative, the middle of the road, person, and they want to balance it. Because more often than not, when cases go to the judiciary in the US, especially the Supreme Court, they just look at issues, yes, dispassionately, but from the point of view of those judges that are constituted. So that is what you normally have. So it can happen that in this case, some judges out of the people that are going to put together say, okay, why not? And if they go by voting, they just vote and whichever way it goes. But they are optimistic. It can happen. It can happen that's why PDP, in fact, another lawyer has even gone to court on his own. He is saying it is against the law, it should be null and void and whatever. So let's see. You see, the law is an ass. I've heard a judge that said, look, the same arguments, the same evidence that can be used to nullify an election, the same argument can be used to uphold that election.
Right.
You only look at the converse of it. So the law is an ass, but it may not. We don't know what the judges will say. But let's just keep our fingers crossed. But if it holds, it may be very difficult to say go and stop it, because one, the local government must have officers. They must have chairmen and councillors. And going by the new dimension, Adegbeshola did a lot of, I don't know, going by his own perception. Let me not say a lot of wrong, to Osun State when he was there. He was the one that brought in this idea of presidential system of government, parliamentary system. We are running parliamentary system of presidential.
That's right.
He says we should go back to 1963. That was when we ran the parliamentary system of government.
Right.
Then he was the one that came with the idea of a state of Osun instead of Osun State.
That's right.
Whereas, don't forget that the local governments, the 774 local governments, they are in the constitution and they are giving money. They are recognized.
Right.
The Tinubu attempted to add more, but the militating factor is the fact that it will not be added in the constitution, and those new ones will not be paid.
They will not get allocations.
They will not get allocated. He said,
right.
well, I don't mind. But still, Obasanjo said, no way, and all that. But that today is history. So, because there's nothing you can do about it. So they know he brought the idea of parliamentary system back to the system, whereby all of them will go to the polls. Then the whoever is elected will now become the overall boss in each local government, and that is what parliamentarianism treats, and that's why Britain is different from all of us.
Right.
Britain, they don't even have a written constitution; they go by habeas corpus, Magna Carta, the 1265 and all that. Right. That's what they go. So it's easy for them to remove a prime minister. Look at
Boris Johnson.
Yeah, Boris Johnson. He was removed because, and in fact, luckily for him, they didn't pass a vote of no confidence. But he knew that if 50 members of your group, your own party are saying no, members are saying no, so he had to throw in the towel. But in a presidential system of government, it will have been difficult to remove him because the idea of where it comes from will come in. So back to your question, Arabeshola did a lot. He did all kinds of things. You don't forget that even the school system that he changed.
That's right.
And that was part of the problem he has with the incumbent, the incumbent government, Boyega Oyetola, because Boyega attempted, and in fact he did. He upturned most of those things: the school system, the parliamentary system, the presidential system, and all that. This state of Osun cannot be state of Osun, and you now have Ogun State. No, it's not done. So he changed all those things, and so that was why they had this problem. He didn't want to believe that he was not loyal to him and all that.
Okay. Well, I can see a question on Facebook. Please keep them coming through. We'll get to them as the conversation progresses. Also, make use of WhatsApp 0817-555-1067. That is 0817-555-1067. Twitter, once again, is at Splash FM 1067. Ensure that you include this hashtag Panorama on Splash so that your tweet can be treated the way it should be treated in that instance. Okay, let's also now consider the argument of the PDP in this instance.
Okay.
They have a governor-elect, Senator Ademola Adeleke. He should be sworn in sometimes in November, if I'm not mistaken now. This protest that they've organized, this, how do I get to call it now? This opposition they are displaying to the conduct of this local government election that OCEC is planning to organize on October the 15th. Many have said that, don't they believe that the popularity that they've garnered so far would stand them well for the local government elections?
You can't. It's a catch-22 thing. Don't forget, the incumbent is the incumbent any day. We've seen virtually every state in this country that had conducted the election on its own at the local government level won virtually everything. And that, despite the fact that the Adeleke had won and is very popular and all that, the dancer, it's not impossible for them to lose in some areas, even where they won large number of votes. Because you think all those elections that people voted, the ones that we are claiming that people are against, do you think there was level playing ground there? In fact, at a point in time, somebody argued that they just sit down and allocate these things. Because more often than not, is the states that organized it, and people believe that votes don't count. Yeah, so despite the popularity of Adeleke, they may not win that election. They may win in their own. Adeleke is popular in
his own
Eddy and all the rest. Eddy, Shugbu and all.
Yeah, local government
wards and all that.
Right.
But they may. But even at that, it is during collation. There is no transmission, no electronic transmission of election in this case.
Right.
Yes, it's whatever they bring from the local, and who will bring all those things? It's the states. So I do not. They know the implication. That's the reason why they are crying foul. They are crying foul because they know the financial implications of it. It's going to be a waste of money. It's going to be a waste of money. And there was even another allegation that when people want to leave office like this, what they want to find means of either supporting the people who had been with them for the 3.5 years or 4 years,
right,
or making money for themselves or making money for the party. It's an allegation. I'm not saying, you're tolerant. No. All I'm saying is this is a possibility. And it's PDP that is saying it. That look, is to cover, their tracks, the wrong tracks, the wrong financial tracks that they have undertaken during the period of their governance. That's part of it. And because it's easy. If you say you spend 1 billion naira, who will say no? They will provide the evidence. And and when will it even come that you now come to how much did you spend? In fact, go and look around. I've heard arguments that the way some governors make their money when they come in is through the roads or whatever. Because how do
Capital
you
project.
Yeah, road project, infrastructure project. Because how do you determine the number of iron?
Right.
The thickness of the iron. No, people make money, it's done. And that's part of the reason why people have been clamoring. In fact, I listened to a foreigner yesterday. He was saying, look, it's corruption that has run this country aground. Because these monies that have been, in fact, there was a report in the papers today that the NMPC that didn't work, they spent billions of naira on salaries and all that. Even they were even being trained, when they were not working, and all that. So in fact, NMPC was not even audited for years.
Right.
So that's why they are crying foul. Yes, they are popular, they could win in certain areas, but in the final analysis, it's whatever they come. How would you go to court? Which party had gone to court, local government election, and they always say, okay, because they know the game. They too know the game. If they too are there, they will do the same thing.
Right.
They will do the same thing because you will imagine that somebody like Makinde, when he got there, because he wanted to put his own men too, he sacked all of them. The local government is very crucial to any governor because they are the closest to the people, to the nearest to the people. So they are not comfortable with having the otas, the enemies, opposition, in place. In fact, more often than not, what governor does, if he met that condition, is to drive them, to his own side,
his own camp.
Yeah, his own camp. So that's the reason why he may win few local governments. But it's going to be very few. It's going to be very, very few because the local government election is on the laps of the governor, and it's whatever he appointed the people. Yes, he appointed the chairman. They give them mandates. How do you conduct a local government chairman? You say you are governor in the state, and you are not clearing, and out of 20, you say you are not clearing 18 at least. It's unheard of.
All right, so I think it's just about time to listen to you who have listened to us so far in terms of you joining us via the telephone lines now. Also, you can make use of WhatsApp. By the way, the WhatsApp line is this: 0817-555-1067, 0817-555-1067. You could also send us questions on Facebook at Splash FM 1067. I see a few of them. We'll get to them very shortly. Also, make use of Twitter. The handle is at Splash FM 1067. And sure to include the hashtag Panorama on Splash when you call us or when you send that tweet, pardon me. But the phone lines, here they are: 0704 400 1067, 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, 0817 444 1067, as well as 0705 050 1067. We're looking at the proposal to have the local government elections organized in Osun State this morning. Eddy Aina is with me in the studio to make a sense. Well, you've heard him talk about everything that he's had to talk about so far in this regard. So let me get to the question here on Facebook. Sheson Hezekiah says, the issue of conducting local government elections in Osun by the incumbent is barbaric and politically sentimental. It's the public that suffers while the political in power gains. I'll continue with the rest of that comment. Let's pick this call. There's someone on the line. Let's hear from this individual. Good morning. Thanks for calling us. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Nicholas, thanks for calling.
Good morning, Benga.
Good morning, Nicholas.
Good morning, Sir Eddy. I know.
Good morning. You can hear you. Go on.
As you were talking, my mind just went to Cloud Aki. There was a professor in this country called Cloud Aki, a very renowned professor of social science. He wrote a book, Are We Still Democratizing? He wrote different books. Then my mind went back to Professor Chino Achebe. He wrote many books. One was The Problem with Nigeria. Then shortly before he died, I think that was in 1983. Then before he died, he wrote There Was a Country. Then when I remembered last week Friday when Dr. Ashimo was explaining the problems with the health sector, my mind went to one of the inaugural lectures of the best minister of health Black Africa has ever produced, Professor Olukwe Masumkote. He had a lecture he titled that our children may not die. Everybody alive as we speak is in a local government. Whether you call it a municipal, a county, a ward, that is semantics. But with the funny thing we practice in Nigeria, it's only in Nigeria that the important things come last. And that is why the chairmen of the government are now on the laps of one man. In a serious democracy, the aim of the government is to entrust political responsibility to where it is most crucial and beneficial. And it is not to the president, the governor, or his commissioner. It is to the people. So that whatever happens after the election, the people enjoy or suffer the consequences of their actions. Just give me 10 seconds, Benga. You remember Frederick Douglass, the great black liberator. There was something he said. He said, our democracy can be in the hands of bad men. It can also be in the hands of good men. And when in the hands of good men, it is good enough for all. But in whatever hands it is, it must be so shaped that in whatever hands it is, we are all safe. It's unfortunate why Eritrea is trying to lay a landmine in a state that is one of the peaceful in the southwest. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for talking to us. We can take more calls as much as they come in. The numbers once again, 0704 400 1067, 0705 050 1067, as well as 0817 444 1067. Here's another call. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Mr. Eddy. Hello.
Good morning. Here you go.
Good morning. Yeah. Yes, my contribution straight to the point. Now that we've been able to identify the problem with local government election, I mean the Osun State local government election, that the governor that is leaving is conducting, legally, you say it's right, but when you look at it, you think otherwise. That he just have about few days to leave the office. I will just advise that we should fashion a program. I mean, the constitution should be withdrawn. That any governor that is coming in should conduct local government election after 1 year for a 3-year term local government something. So that at the end of the 3 years, the governor too will be leaving, the local government will be leaving. I think that will solve the issue. Instead of all this, they have the right to conduct the election. This is what I know. But it will bring problems into that state. That is my thinking. I'm Oladele calling from Abeokuta. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Oladele, we appreciate you for talking to us. Thank you very much. Maybe more calls to suffice now before we proceed with the rest of the comments that we have on Facebook as well as WhatsApp. I see them pouring through and coming in. Please keep them coming. Also on Twitter at SplashFM1067. Here is another call. Let's listen to this individual. Hi, good morning. Thanks for calling. What's your name? I'm sorry, please get your issues sorted and you can call us again. We'd appreciate that a great deal. Okay, so to the comment I was reading on Facebook before from Sheson Hezekiah, my question is that do politicians come to serve or to eat public funds? Why don't the politicians have the continuity? Please turn off your radio when you connect with us. It's very key.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
I'm calling from Abeokuta.
All right, please go on. Thanks for calling.
Taking the lead from the last caller, it is constitutionally right, but it's not healthy. We'll put a question across. What are the governor looking at?
Alara, I'm sorry, please hold on. There's a beeping sound in the background. Please, can you get rid of it? It's interfering.
Okay, I think there's nothing here. I'm alone here.
Oh, okay. Nothing. Just go on. Go on.
So I think whether it is constitutional or not, it is not healthy at this point in time. What about if he has not lost the election? I don't think he would have thought about having an election like this. So those who are close to him should advise him that he should not create problems. Because after he might have left, the incoming governor will have to ban this administration, the administration of local government. That is where they will be going to court, wasting public money and wasting time on it. It's better he let the things go the way it is. Good morning.
Thank you very much for talking to us, Alarm. I appreciate you. To the rest of the comments I have on Facebook from Shason Hezekiah. Why don't the politicians have the continuity in mind instead of discontinuity? Route when change in bait of tenure comes. Most of our law, right from the grassroots to the federal level, must be reviewed, if not overhauled. He asked a question. Okay, let's listen to this caller. Hi, good morning. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Lolade calling from Abuja.
All right, thanks for calling, Lolade. Go on.
Yeah, I want to simply ask a question from the last caller, or probably if I have privilege to meet them. The fact is that for the fact that the government is leaving office, doesn't mean it has to leave the activities of government unattended. He has the fundamental right to conduct elections. What is important is that if you have a good act to serve, whoever that is working with you, as long as all of us have a good heart to serve that state, I don't think there's a problem with that. Because now he has lost election, he's going to leave office, he shouldn't pay worker salary, he shouldn't do other necessary things, he shouldn't attend to other functionaries that has to do with the state matters because he wants to leave. The question is,
all right, please do make your way back if you can. Would appreciate that a great deal. So the question that Shason Hezekiah is asking, whether politicians come to serve or to eat public funds. I mean, sounds pretty rhetorical, but maybe you can attend.
Yeah, it's rhetorical. But it's an African thing. It's an African problem. Although not only in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and in a few places in Europe, it's only few places that you have people who, really go there too. And the law takes its effect on you. It's not. There is nowhere that you don't have corruption. Human beings have the tendency to be corrupt, but when you don't spare bad behavior, when you don't encourage it, like what happens in Nigeria or elsewhere, when you don't encourage it, the people get punished. I think that's the difference. But more often than not, the question is asking from our own observation. People go. I mean, politics is money. So. It's business.
All right, more questions will definitely suffice, or more calls, pardon, will definitely suffice at this point in time. Here's another caller now. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Thanks for calling us.
With due respect, there are other. It is unfortunate that Oyetola now remembers his fundamental human rights 3 months to hand over. Let us be more involved with the more important things. The state has functioned without these elections. The thinking is not, like Eddy just said, it's not supernatural. It is not transcendental. The thinking is from a primordial, categorized thoughts, even though it is in the law. Apostle Paul told us not everything that is in the law is helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicholas McCullough. Once again, the sanitary and Akelalo Aritim on Facebook says, as regards the Osun State local government election, let's see how it goes. But my take is that if the election is conducted, what if the governorship elected under the PDP, Adeleke strikes out the elected officers? What will happen? I mean, I think you've talked about it.
I mentioned it. He has the right to appoint caretaker committee members, but that's tokenism. I mean, when you give your people, committee to be caretaker committee and all that. That it doesn't work that way. That one is even illegal. You must conduct election. But unfortunately, even Aregbesola did not conduct election for the first time. Part of second term. And it happens to so many governors, and that kind of a thing. But I think the right thing should be done. I mean, once people imbibe the right qualities, I think Nigeria's system, will run effortlessly.
Interesting. Michael Folorunshaw from Akure says, why is Oyetola going to do the local government election? I get to men say conduct. This is very bad of him. On Twitter, Otubai Janla says, my choice analyst. I mean, looks like Eddy has some fans out there. My choice analyst is in the studio this morning. I'll be waiting for your next segment by 9 a.m. to commend you. Of course, 2 stay tuned for that one to start by 9 a.m. Second segment, we'll call it From the Pages. Edwin Abayomi on Twitter also says, politically exposed people deliberately do things that are controversial or immoral just because they know there won't be consequences. Do we need the court to compel the governors to conduct local government elections within a time frame going forward? That's a question. I mean, maybe if the court can also compel, I mean, is that a possibility?
That the court can stop it.
No, can compel the governors to conduct local government elections as at when do you?
No, the court cannot, because most of them, in fact, even the Okorosha, he didn't conduct any election, local government election in Foster. Even in Anambra State, it happens because they enjoy the largesse that is supposed to go to the local government. They enjoy it. They use it for the states, and they say, okay, well, I've done this, I've done that. Whereas forgetting that it's the local government people, that are being shortchanged.
All right, we have a few more minutes to our next advert break, very first advert break on the show, but let's pick this call. We have another person talking to us, hopefully. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name?
I am Rotimi from Isaliake.
I didn't get the name. Please say it again.
I am Rotimi from Isaliake.
Rotimi from Isaliake. Talk to us. Go on, please.
Yes. The issue of a local government election, I think is basically the fault of our
Rotimi, we need help. We need help from your end.
I'm not in anywhere near any radio.
Oh, okay. Just go on.
Hello.
Yes, go on. Rotimi, go on.
I mean, there's no radio around me.
Go on. We can hear you. Go on.
Now, I think it's the fault of the judiciary. Because the judiciary cannot, they fail to take the stand on any case brought that taken to them. It is the constitutional right of any governor to conduct local government elections. But it's equally moral for any governor not to conduct election when you are leaving the office. Because what are you looking? What is your aim when you are still in the office and you fail to conduct? Let us go, if all of us that have the opportunity of calling on the radio, take our constitution and read well. We won't be saying what we are saying. But you still have every right to conduct an election or look at that local election. But it is equally moral for him not to conduct the tail end of his government. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rotimi, for talking to us. To WhatsApp now, myriad of messages already. Let me get to them as soon as possible. Okay. For some reason, I'm having some issues here. Okay, here is one. This is not for us, apparently. This is not for us as well. Here is one from here. Anu from Kuta says, well, let's take this call and then we'll get to the WhatsApp comments as we proceed now. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name?
Adeyake is my name.
All right. Thank you.
Calling you from Temigere here in Sabo, Abeokuta.
Great. Please go on.
I want to contribute to what you are saying, discussing about Oyetola's intention of conducting local government elections. I think it is high time there should be a legislation to be held. Once a sitting governor, participates in an election, and either he lose, there should be a legislation that limiting what he can do, what he can do after the elections. Bearing in mind that just few months to the end. I think it is uncalled for. Morally, it is not supposed to be. That's my contribution. Let that be the legislation to that effect. Thank you.
We appreciate the contribution. Thank you very much for talking to us. We're due for a commercial break. Well, the idea behind spotlighting this is the fact that, what happens in other states also means there could be a possibility of it happening here in Ogun State. So, take your legislators to task. It's very, very important and very key. All right, so let's proceed to that commercial break. When we come back, I'll read the comments that we have on WhatsApp. And if we have more on Twitter and Facebook, I'll also take them as well. So stay here. We'll be right back. Panorama.
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 Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
I like talk radio.
Welcome to your number one talk radio station.
Fasten your seatbelts.
This is your favorite station.
Splash FM
106.7.
gbogbo ọ̀nà irene níléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ homes and property Nigeria Limited àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí ló ń tà torí pé ó pọ̀ ju owó rẹ̀ lọ. ilẹ̀ ìbára orílẹ̀ kọ́pàpẹ́ àgbóòdo 200,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí lórí promo wọn 100,000 lẹ́sàn. tẹ̀sí mọ̀ yìí pé iléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ kò ní jẹ́ ta ilẹ̀ inú igbó láéláé. ilẹ̀ ń bẹ ní ìdíòrì onígangan òṣèlẹ̀ kọ́pàpẹ́ ṣòdẹ̀kẹ̀tìtò bẹ́ẹ̀ sì nílé oko wọn igbó ọ̀rà ìbára orílẹ̀ ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ẹ gba ìdajì sí ó sì jẹ́ ékalẹ̀ra odidi lẹ́gbà sí táwọn tí ó bá yín gbìnrì oko yín sì wà nílẹ̀ àwọn kan náà ni wọ́n bá yín tà á 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ́ Abẹ́òkúta 07044648338 07044648338 ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé ìgbésẹ̀ àtẹ̀mí àti àwọn ìsìn kọ̀ọ̀kan kù.
30 ọjọ́ oṣù kẹjọ làǹfààní yóò pín.
kọ́lé mara lẹ̀.
ikú ọmọ kì í ṣe tèmi o. ìwọ ń kọ́.
ikú ọgbọ́dọ̀ pa mí lọ́mọ èèwọ̀. ikú ọgbọ́dọ̀ pa mí lọ́mọ èèwọ̀.
ó yá o gbogbo abiyamọ lákùnrin àti lóbìnrin ẹ jẹ́ ká fi àdúrà yìí ikú dànù lórí àwọn ọmọ wa níbi ìpàdé àdúrà ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta gbáko tólúwa gbé kalẹ̀ sínú ilé Ọlọ́run the city of David prayer ministry orí òkè àgbàlá àánú odi Ìláró road ìdí mangoro bus stop òkè àtàìtọ́ Ṣàbẹ́òkúta ikú ọmọ kì í ṣe tèmi ńlá kò rí àdúrà alágbára ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta yìí tí yóò wáyé láti ọjọ́ Thursday ọjọ́ kẹẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n sí Saturday ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlọ́gbọ̀n oṣù kẹjọ yìí August 25 to 27 láago méje òwúrọ̀ ojoojúmọ́. ẹ bá ń bọ̀ ẹ kú àwọn ọmọ yín dání nítorí àkànṣe ìfàmìlóyàn fún wọn. special nursing service for them all. obìnrin yẹn ní nígbà tí mo wò ó fín òkú ọmọ kì í ṣe tèmi. ìwọ náà máa bọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ rẹ ní ibi ìpàdé àdúrà ikú ọmọ kì í ṣe tèmi. ní city of David prayer ministry orí òkè àgbàlá àná agbára Ọlọ́run nípasẹ̀ àdúrà látẹnu wòlíì ìrànyè Prophet JB Adéyẹmí yóò yí ikú dànù lórí àwọn ọmọ rẹ. fún àlàyé síwájú sí ẹ pé 08035530895. ó ti yẹ ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ gbogbo wa là ń bọ̀ Jésù lolúwa.
ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ wà ń tún ti gbé e dé o. IAS Unique Homes ni mò ń perí yẹn. ilẹ̀ ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ tó ń tà ló mú kọ́hún wọn tayọ lọ́wọ́jọ òkúta. ó yá ìgbélé yìí IAS Super Mega Promo níbi tí ó ti jàǹfààní ẹ̀dínwó 25% lórí èyíkéyìí ilẹ̀ tẹ́ ẹ bá rà lọ́dọ̀ wa. King City tó wà ládojúkọ Alámọ̀lá Barracks Randa ti di 3 million naira báyìí. Glory Land Town Oníròkò Máwùkọ́ Abẹ́òkúta ti di 562,500 naira. IAS Garden City ládojúkọ Alámọ̀lá Barracks náà ti di 1.5 million naira. Profit City Òrìlẹ̀ Ajé Ayétòrò Road ti di 150,000 naira. Islander Member City Ajílété lọ́nà Funab Alábàtà ti di 150,000 naira. Islander Member City Máwùkọ́ ti di 187,500 naira. ẹ tún wá gbọ́ o bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe ń ra èyíkéyìí nínú àwọn ilẹ̀ wa lẹ́wọ̀n máa gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì olóríire mẹ́ta lọ́nà méjì. a fi jẹ kẹ̀kẹ́ márúwá mẹ́ta àti ọkọ̀ Micra mẹ́ta. ẹ yára kàn sí iléeṣẹ́ IAS lónìí ní Ansarudeen House Quarry Road Pepsi Abẹ́òkúta láti jàǹfààní yìí. ó tún kásẹ̀ lẹ̀ ní August 30 0809-294-4848.
Every better parent dey give dem pikin quality education to get knowledge and wisdom wey tanda. Ìdí rèé tí gbogbo òbí ṣe mú àwọn ọmọ wọn lọ sí Wisdom Academy fún ojúlówó ẹ̀kọ́ tó perégedé. Children schooling at Wisdom Academy are the pride of their parents. At Wisdom Academy, we offer quality and affordable crèche, nursery and primary education. Our vision is to raise a new generation of God-fearing leaders through Christ-centered educational curriculum. Wisdom Academy is situated at 15 Presidential Boulevard by Kuto Flyover, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Admission is ongoing with special discount offer to the first 50 pupils and family with at least 3 children enrolled with us. Bring your child to enjoy the services of our dedicated staff, conducive learning environment, well-equipped library, amongst other world-class facilities. Àǹfààní yìí yóò dópin ní Monday, September 12. Fún àlàyé síwájú sí ẹ pè 0803-346-5083 tàbí 0703-543-2118. Wisdom Academy, Christ's wisdom for knowledge and understanding.
àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ gbogbo aláṣeyọrí ayọ̀ aláṣeyọrí class home and property limited lónìí ọ̀pọ̀ ilẹ̀ wọn ti di wámútìrẹ́ báyìí lórí owó tí gò ga ju ara lọ Randa extension hilltop Máwùkọ́ àti Kọ̀bàpẹ́ 100,000 ní plọ̀tì yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni lóko wọn ti di ọ̀pọ̀ yùkẹ́ mo lọ́kẹ̀dẹ̀ 25,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ̀ Kọ̀bàpẹ́ Alábàtà Òṣìẹ̀lẹ̀ 30,000 ní plọ̀tì ẹ̀rà plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ẹ̀gbá ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ ékalẹ̀rà odidi lẹ́gbàsí pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àǹfààní tẹ́ẹ̀jẹ̀ lórí ilé oko wọn torí pé àwọn onírà àti onímọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ti wà níkàlẹ̀ láti là ń lọ́yẹ̀ lórí kan tẹ́ gbèsè ilé oko tẹ́ bára 4 Mọ̀túndé Abíọ́lá way Ìlẹ́gò Daily Express furniture ni wọ́n wà Ọlọ́ṣogbo Abẹ́òkúta Ògùn State 08033086557 08033086557 lóòótọ́ àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ń bá ń bá wa ná dandan ní kẹ́ láṣeyọrí ayọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa.
30 ọjọ́ oṣù kẹjọ làǹfààní yóò pín.
Ogun State Internal Revenue Service presents Ogun State Electronic Tax Administration Portal, OGETax. Now you can transact all your businesses online with Ogun State Internal Revenue Service by logging on to their website ogirs.ogunstate.gov.ng. Click on self-service to get to the OGIRS portal. Transact your businesses either as a corporate organization or an individual. Follow the promptings, fill out the necessary details required to get your tax identification number. Existing organizations and individuals will need only to validate their accounts. Organizations can file their monthly and annual returns by downloading and filling the exact template, upload the data, and make payments, while individuals can also transact their stamp duty, direct assessment, and so on. Log on to ogirs.ogunstate.gov.ng and transact all your businesses online with Ogun State Internal Revenue Service.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
I like talk radio.
Welcome to your number one talk radio station.
Fasten your seatbelts.
This is your favorite station.
Splash FM 106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
I should mention that we appreciate you for staying with us on the Integrity Radio dial. Splash 106.7 situated in the capital of the state, Abeokuta, Nigeria. And we've talked extensively about the plans of the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, OCEC, to have local government elections organized on the 15th of October this year, and the PDP has cried foul in that instance, and that formed the basis of our conversation for the issue of the day segment of this. Panorama is the name of the program, by the way. So I still have your comments on WhatsApp, so let me get to them straight away. Anu from Kuta says, good morning, Splash. Concerning the local government election that is planning to hold in Osun, one thing I want you to know is that this so-called election to me is not recognized because it is the anointed man of the governor that will be chosen, and even it is the party that is in power that will be elected. Well, for context reason, you can't be too sure. I mean, we've had maybe exceptional cases where those or people from parties that are not incumbent or that not belong to, I mean, I think it happened in Kaduna.
Yeah, they won election. Yes, it happened in Kaduna, yeah.
So, I mean, for context reason, that could also happen. One thing PDP may not agree to this because it's maybe a plot to disrupt the administration of Senator Adeleke. To me, Utola is trying to weaken the administration of Senator Adeleke because he has been in administration for over 3 years and some months back, and since then, he did not have it in mind to do or to conduct the local government election. But now that he did not win the election, which has months of expiration of his government, he's now planning the election. The election is not meaningful. I know we thank you for sending that in. This is from Dr. Chris Olugbenga Ologbon, who says our political class behaves too arrogantly in the manner of who can question me. This act of imposition can only happen in an absurd society like Nigeria. The people don't matter to them as long as they have their way. They turn the system against the people and the people against one another for selfish gains. May God help Nigeria. Here's another one. Okay. Well, this is Bengano Gwega, by the way. There's one thing to know that all Nigerian politicians engage in anything that our leaders are bringing in, it is for their own interest and not in the interest of the people they are governing. Let's be sincere with our offices so that the original judge will not fire us on the day of judgment. On the issue of our National Assembly, let's go back to having a single house. I see these two house, bicameral legislature, meant to say, as a wasting of resources. Elias from Abeokuta goes on to say, I also want to advise the elected governor that if at the end of the day the election comes up, he should not dissolve those in power after assuming office, because I've been looking at it from that angle since the day the current governor has said he wants to conduct local government elections before leaving office. You should just see it that everything that has a beginning must surely have an end. My question is, who among these two persons are fighting for the interest of the people of Osho and not for his personal interest. Elias from Abeokuta, thank you very much. Here's another one on WhatsApp. Good morning, Splash. All politicians are the same. Well, you cannot exactly say that for a fact. So maybe you can say majority, but maybe not all of them. Governor Itola has the right to conduct local government elections. Adeleke would have done the same thing if he were in the shoes of Oyetola. The process of the election has started before the last election. People should find out. Put sentiment aside. If PDP is popular, let them participate in the election. Ashiwaju Adisa from Abeokuta, we appreciate you. Here is another comment. Good morning, Mr. Gbenga. Kudos to you and Pa Eddy Pasa. That's a whole lot to put together. Eddy and Amolon Soya Shamsuddin Akorede, Comrade Otutokoro, one from Kim to Idea Abeokuta. Please, I'm feeling so concerned about this major road. I'm talking about the road along Kim to Sawmill, as if we're going to Adebayo area. All vehicles are now following wrong way. I guess you meant to say they are flying one way. This road is always busy because of those trailers. Again, to continue my message from where it stopped, we all know that it's dangerous when vehicles are passing through one way, not even to talk about trailers that are always hiding their plate numbers. Should our Honorable Commissioner for Works and Maintenance and all those concerned commissioners under the umbrella of His Excellency Prince Dakwa Abiodun Mefara to please rescue the life of the masses on this road. Thank you in anticipation. May God please continue to bless Nigeria, my beloved Ogun State. So there's a picture of that is attached to what he's talking about. So people are having to ply one way because of a bad portion on the other side of the road. So that's it. So please, those concerned should also attend to this as much as possible. Finally, on WhatsApp, good morning, Mr. Presenter, and I appreciate Mr. Eddy. I know for his wonderful submissions. Without mincing words, Governor Itola is not doing anything new at all. In fact, I cannot recollect any governor departing who has not conducted local government elections at the twilight of his regime in Nigeria. The problem we have in this country is that our leaders always fail to separate politics from governance, and it's quite unfortunate. I think the best thing that can happen is for the National Assembly to enact new laws or amend the existing ones, such that there won't be any vacuum at all in the local government administration, thereby ensuring that elections are conducted periodically and at the same time curb the powers and legitimacy of state governors to appoint caretaker committees recklessly. Finally, I'm afraid no court can stop Governor Itola from conducting local government elections because he remains the governor until November. It's only a moral question and not a constitutional one, because Itola has a constitutional right to do and conduct the election. Comrade Ismail Oloyede from Ashiru. Thank you very much. We appreciate all of the comments that we've seen so far. There's another one on Facebook. Taya Ademola Adeniro says, good morning, Benga. Good morning, Sir Eddy. This is what always happens when you govern government or any leader in public offices. Oyetola is leaving in a couple of months, and now he believes this is the right time for him to conduct local government election. This is bad. It may be constitutional, but morally it's a taboo. That is, the constitution needs to be reviewed. He has Lule already, and he should allow Imole to do the rest. Engineer Adetaya Adeniro, thank you very much. Appreciate all the comments that we've seen so far. If there are further ones or if there are additional ones, I'll read them as we progress with this program altogether. So let me take you through the second segment of this. Called from the pages. I have two newspapers here, Vanguard as well as Nigerian Tribune. From the front page of the Tribune, the big story states Wike tackles Lamido, accuses him of cracking wall of unity in PDP. You find that on page 15 of the paper. Here's another story on the front page of the paper. Pastor, 9 church members arrested for killing Oro worshipper in Lagos. You find that on page 28. FG says Abuja Kaduna train service not commencing. A rider says FECO case 718 million naira for FCT rail line security. You find that on page 2. Pandef to northern youths. Don't provoke crisis in Niger Delta over surveillance contracts to Tompolo. You find that on page 30. World Bank, US Exim Bank commits 3 billion naira to Nigeria's energy transition plan. You find all of that on page 6 of the paper. EFCC arrests NDDC finance director over alleged 225 billion naira fraud. A writer says secures conviction of 40 suspected internet fraudsters in Ibadan. You find that one on page 8 of the paper. IU meets Guba candidate, targets 25 governorship seats. You find that on page 16 of the paper. I will only support APC candidates. There are no Villa candidates. You would find that's according to President Buhari. You find that on page 16 of the paper. So all the flags of construction of food security logistics park in Ekpe. You find that on page 2 of the paper. Muslim ticket. Dogara Babachir meets IBB Abdul Salami. You find that on page 15 of the paper. ASU heading for indefinite strike demands fresh negotiation committee. The writer says wants Buhari to take charge. You find that on page 3 of the paper. All right, nothing of note to report from the back page of the Tribune, but taking you through the Vanguard now. The big story states 2023, Wike will work for Tinubu, says Masari as Atiku jets out. Multiple writers accompanying the story. The first one says, good omen for APC, that's according to Tinubu Group. A second rider, Atiku jets to Paris, may meet Wike. Third rider now, ex-VP hasn't given up on Wike, that's according to a PDP source. A fourth rider says there's still room for reconciliation. Another rider now, IU boasts of PDP's victory. Another rider now, I don't believe Tinubu met Wike, that's according to Bauchi Governor. Here's another rider. Wike's 8 flays Lamido over comments. And final rider, pro-Atiku supporters plan 1 million man march in Rivers. Okay. Here's another story also made the Tribune. Pastor 9 others arrested over death of 25-year-old Oro worshipper. You find that on page 7. Electricity discos indict FG over poor performance. You find that one on page 4 of the paper. Nigeria's economy on verge of collapse. That's according to Sanusi. Two writers accompany that story. The first one says 2023, not about Muslim ticket, Emilio Con. And a second writer decries government borrowing to pay subsidy. You find the details of that on page 3 of the paper. NLC calls for downward review of media operating licenses. You find that on page 3 of the paper. 2023, Labour Party denies rift between Otomi Obi over campaign funds. You find that on page 3 of the paper. Nan's executive jailed 1 year for 195 million naira internet fraud. You find that on page 6 of the paper. Insecurity, why Abuja Kaduna train services can't resume now. That's according to the federal government. You find that on page 4 of the paper. No work, no pay. You've forfeited rights to salaries, labor leaders, NECA, others. Tell ASU. You find that on page 12. Poor revenue. Government's borrowing from banks rise to 20.1 trillion naira. You find that on page 19 of the paper. The picture on the front page of the paper, by the way, is that of a PDP meeting where the national chairman, Iyocha Ayu, Bauchi State Governor, Senator Bala Mohammed, PDP states governorship candidates at a meeting between the chairman and the governorship candidates from across the country at the party's national secretariat in Abuja yesterday. Also, the picture on the front page of the Tribune is that of a bulldozer belonging to the Federal Capital Territory FCT demolishing shanties and illegal buildings at Mpape, Abuja. And that happened yesterday. And one of the affected residents lamenting her loss, as well as security agents monitoring the exercise to prevent breakdown of law and order. And on the back page of the Vanguard, Falconet stranded, sleep on Turkish airport floor. The writer says NFF, why Falconet overstayed at Istanbul airports. You find details in the paper. Teams want to avoid Real Madrid. That's when it comes to the Champions League dream, nightmare draws. Also, there is a deal, according to Newcastle, they've agreed a £63 million transfer for Isak and strikers to become the record signing of the Magpies. That's according to the back page of Vanguard newspaper. So Eddie's still with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. We appreciate you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
A great deal. Let's start off from the Wike Atiku field that just seems to be growing bigger and bigger by the day. I know I asked, I don't know who it was that was here last week, about if Wike being in the PDP is pretty pivotal to any hopes that PDP has of rescuing powers from the center in 2023. And now the stories that are emerging talk about how Masari is saying that Wike will work for Tinubu in 2023. I mean, is there any slightest possibility of that happening?
Well, let's go to the basics, of the problem. Both parties, PDP and APC, refuse to do the normal. What has become the normal now, the new normal, is jettisoning the extant rules
and
or laws and structures in the political parties and wanting to win election at all costs and applying different formulas. Because if you look at PDP, it's there in their own law, it's there in the constitution of the PDP that rotation and change of presidency, rotation of presidency and giving powers to all sections of the country is paramount. And that has been the case since 1999. Even when individuals come out, like, there was this governor of Kano State, who came out when Obasanjo, were elected. Said, okay, fine, it's my right to contest election.
All right.
The party knew that he was just joking. Because the party will have told everybody, look, this is rotation to this part of it. So that's as far as PDP's problem is concerned. And that's what they are fighting. That's what they are fighting against now.
Right.
That is what it has come back to haunt PDP. It has come back to haunt PDP because so many Nigerians believe, especially within that political party, that for PMB to have spent 8 years, a northern Muslim, to have come back, to have spent 8 years, and you are now bringing another northerner, and a Fulani too, a Muslim, it gets somewhere. It has negated what has stood Nigeria on a proper state since 1999 to date.
Okay.
So that's the fault of PDP. And APC on his own side feels, okay, how do we win election? So their problem is winning election in 2023. And so to jettison what ought to have been the norm too. The norm that, yes, it has been, it was there in 1993. But now it is no longer feasible to have a Muslim ticket. So they too said, okay, for us to win this election, because how do we use a Christian to canvass for votes in Northeast, North Central, and Northwest? So they too, rather than allow a Christian person to be the deputy, they decided to go for Muslims.
Right.
So that is the crux of the matter. It will haunt the two parties till the end. Okay, look, there are alignments and realignments. All these alignments and realignments, they are just because of winning votes. Because Atiku, got so good. Wike is there on the other side to say, okay, this is not fair. Because Wike thought that had Atiku not been Tambua, did not, because he got phone calls, from some individuals, powerful Nigerian, military and all
some
that.
northern elders and the
He now decided, because they feared Wike. They said Wike cannot be entrusted with the presidency because it's like you're having a bull in a China shop. And at the last minute, they decided to give their votes to Atiku. And that's what is haunting that PDP now. There's alignments and realignments. Most of these things we are hearing, they have not told us the concrete facts. They said meetings held. Somebody is saying, I'm not sure. Wike met, Atiku met Wike. Even, there was a meeting, the first meeting that they was alleged to have held in France.
Right.
We don't know the outcome of it.
Of that meeting.
Yes. Nah. But the fact remains that there are alignments and realignments. People are looking for ways, to get more people. Whereas, if the two parties had done the right thing, yes, even if people are going to move from one place to the other, it won't be on the basis of Muslim ticket or northern, perpetually there. It won't be. It will just be minor, because without the two regions know where they are going, or the three regions know where they are going. But unfortunately, this is what you have now. We'll still have more of this.
Okay.
These clandestine meetings and all that, to outdo the other. But I want to believe that even if Wike wants to help Tinubu, he may not directly do it.
Okay.
Because he is insisting that he's going to remain in PDP. But he can do it clandestinely. It's just like in Western region at that point in time. Right. Yes, you can see my hand, But you aren't seeing my
What's
my,
running
what
in
is
me.
running in my mind.
Right.
I'm in demo. Democratic Party and at that point it's AEG and what have you.
Right.
So we are likely to see that scenario. So many people who are even angling for PDP for APC now may not even vote for APC. People who are angling for PDP, they are doing it because of permutations. Don't forget that Wike would not want to remain irrelevant after 2023.
That's right.
And that's what a politician does. In fact, we are seeing even in Ogun State, some politicians who are not likely to be in the Senate or be governors and all that, they want to remain relevant. In the political calculus. Yes, they want to be godfathers. They want to, they want our house should be a Mecca.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing, what becomes of me after 2023. Recall that even Atiku offered Wike the minister of petroleum.
Oh, right.
Yes, which
right.
petroleum resources.
That's
because he doesn't want to hold that position. Unlike Obasanjo, unlike Buhari. I mean, those ones believe that the oil sector is so sensitive and crucial to the survival of Nigeria, and they held it. They only have ministers, minister of state and all that. But even with the minister of state, we demand at the helm of affairs, that is the PMB, the president of the country, being in charge of fuel, what of oil. What has happened? Nothing. It has not even affected the country positively. So, but whether he had accepted it or has rejected it, we don't know. So there will be dangling of positions. Because that is what you have now. I mean, politicians, as soon as one election finishes, they think of the next election.
Right.
What becomes of me? And that's what we are seeing now. All these Masari and all of them saying Wike will work for. How do you know Wike will work for, Tinubu? The way Wike can work for Tinubu is to surreptitiously support Obi and reduce the votes of Atiku. It's possible.
Right.
Oh, it's a possibility in politics. I mean, it won't come out. There are some politicians that are very, very crafty. They know how to go around, dangling like this and what have you, and ensure, that some people vote for their candidate. But openly, they will say, we had the kind of thing here in Ogun State, in 2019. I mean, the then governor of the state, rooted for APM.
Right.
And he was even campaigning about, with APM for their candidate. I mean, it's a lot. But some will not even be as bold as Amoso, to say, okay, this is the way I'm going. They will not be as bold, but they will work surreptitiously, clandestinely, for that candidate. And you'll be shocked at what we'll see during the forthcoming election. One, Atiku came out to say, I have 11 million votes already. No, it is not true. In the north, because if he's thinking of the north that PMB had, it's a joke. Take too far. That has been taken too far.
Right.
Now, the 11 million votes he had 5.5 million in the north. He had 5.5 million in the south.
Right.
Which may not happen now because there are two factors. There is the factor of Obi, is there. And some other candidates will even win some votes there. I'm not saying he will not win in Southeast and South, but it will not be as big as he did in...
The margin will not be this wide.
It will not be this wide to ever think that I already have 11 million votes. No, it doesn't. Because there will be groups, that will decide to... for so many reasons. Some will take ethnic reasons to say, okay, I mean, it's our own. Whichever we want to look at it. Some will look at it from post-2023. What comes to our region? What comes to me? Some people will look at it from that angle and will, divert votes, to start and say, okay, I did it. Because don't forget, politicians, at the end of the election, they now know where the votes come from. Right. Even this man that has been shouting, what did he donate to the party? What did he make for the party? What was the percentage? So all those things will happen, will take place. But let's just hope that, yes, there won't be violence to all this, because we are now graduating from real politics, talking, conversation, alignment and realignment. We'll now go to the next phase. The next phase will now be, this is my area. What have you come to do? Don't forget there have been threats. Don't come and erect your, if you erect your billboards, you'll be ready to pay 10 million, your campaign billboard.
Right.
You'll be ready to pay 10 million. All those things will come to play, Yes, it's not even the money. It will now gravitate, to this man is not our man. What is he coming to do? Don't come and campaign. Although that may not work because they will draft, security agencies here. But the 2023 election, about 24 or 20, yes, 24. 24 states. We take
right.
Yes,
right.
I mean, the off-season election.
Off-cycle elections.
Yes, they are taking place.
Right.
So
For the Guba
for even at that, even if it is 10, they will not have the number of security agencies they use. During Oshun, Ekiti, yes, and Anambra, they will not have that luxury. So they will thin them out, and so that's the reason why we should pray that all these the alignments and realignment, let it remain peaceful and not gravitate, to use of force, because anything goes during the election.
All right, we're about 4 minutes to the next commercial break that we're supposed to have now. But before we do, I mean, this attention that Wike is enjoying right about now. I mean, Peter Obi had gone to see him. Several governors have gone to see him. Those from the PDP, those from the APC. Do you see him as the joker of sorts?
Yeah,
to 2023.
No, I like Wike for one thing. He believes in the Machiavellian principle. The end justifies the means. And the way he has gone about this business, I mean, he's shown that he's a force to reckon with in the politics of this country, not even in PDP alone. Because APC is even wooing him. I mean, people have gone to Fayemi, Fawolu, they've gone to see him.
That's right.
Yes, I mean, it's just not for jokes. He's shown the whole world that I am a force to reckon with. When Atiku lost election in 2019, he traveled to Dubai for almost 2 years. I'm the only one here spending the money, putting the party together, paying parties and all that. I was the leader. And so nobody can rubbish me. That's one point. And he did it through votes. But unfortunately, I mean, it was outdone towards the tail end.
Right.
He actually worked to win that primaries. But unfortunately, due to that the realignment of forces that we spoke about, some people believe that it's dangerous to allow this man, so he is showing that I'm a force to reckon with. He's bold, he's charismatic. Now, what turns out eventually will now depend on what is likely to happen at the tail end of it. Will there be peace in the parties? Will he agree to work for Atiku? Will he agree to work for Tinubu, clandestinely?
Or even
Obi? Right. No, it's going yes, because he knows if he strengthens Obi in particular area in the southeast and south. I mean, Atiku's chances will be reduced. Don't forget that the southwest is there.
That's right.
Yes, Pa Adebanjo is saying it's Obi's turn, but it's not. At times when Pa Adebanjo believes in that principle that he should come to the south, and the person he wants to support in the south is Obi. It's his right to do, but more often than not, when leaders of Afenifere, even when Pa Adesonya was there was a time they felt vote. They used to divert the attention of people. Say vote for this party, vote for Eddy and all that. It worked, but at a point in time, it didn't work because at that point in time, 5 states in the southwest went the way of PDP.
That's right.
It was only Tinubu that said no, not me.
Right.
It wasn't going to happen to me.
Right.
So then, even with what Pa Adebanjo is saying, it's his own personal problem. It's his own opinion.
Right.
He has one vote. I mean, I don't see him convincing millions of people, even within the context of Southwest. But he's an honorable man. He is saying this is the way it should be. The South hasn't had it, and the Southeast hasn't had it. The South had been president, GEJ.
That's right.
We've had it in Southwest.
Right.
So why not there? He's a honorable man, but it may not translate to votes. Because when you talk of voting, so many things come to play. Some people will look at it. Tinubu is from our own man. He's from here. Right. He has performed very well in Lagos. He's bold. He faced Obasanjo at a critical point in time. So we believe that, yes, he may do it. And because of that, and party affiliation will count. Because don't forget, the APC is saying we already had 40 million members will all the members vote for APC? You cannot be too sure.
Right.
So it's a lot. It's a whole lot of calculations and permutations. But the cost will be clearer, much later.
All right, so we're due for a commercial break now. When we come back, we'll pick one more story and open up the phone lines for you to be part of the conversation. That's because 15 minutes to 10 is when we have to exit the studio today. So bear with us in that regard. I already mentioned that the day the market is good, that usually gets to happen. So stay with us. We'll be right back after the commercials.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
Oríire dé ìdẹ̀rùn dé fún gbogbo òbí alágbàtọ́ àti akẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ilẹ̀ òkèèrè ní san díẹ̀díẹ̀. Ṣé Yorùbá bọ̀ wọ́n ní ìran mẹ́ta kì í tòṣìpọ̀? Ṣùgbọ́n ó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ìgbésẹ̀ ọ̀tun ni o. Elukas ló ní kí ẹ wá sanwó san díẹ̀díẹ̀ láti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àti rọ́mọ yín lọ sókè òkun láti lọ kàwé. Àǹfààní ńláńlá kan ló wọlé dé fún gbogbo òbí akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àti alágbàtọ́ tí ó fẹ́ kí ọmọ òun lọ kàwé lókè òkun. Àti ilé ẹ̀kọ́ òkè òkun kì í ṣe ìwọ ti yín. Ǹjẹ́ ìwọ ti ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ kan lọ́kàn tí ó wù ọ́ kọ́mọ rẹ lọ kàwé? Tàbí o fẹ́ kí á ràn lọ́wọ́ nípa wíwá ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ní ilẹ̀ òkèèrè? Èyíkéyìí orílẹ̀-èdè tó bá fẹ́ lórílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé ní owó tí kò gani lára. Tàbí kó o máa san díẹ̀díẹ̀. Iléeṣẹ́ Elukas Travels and Tours ló gbé ire wọ̀lú. Elukas ló ní kí ẹ máa bọ̀ kí wọ́n bá yín ṣètò ìrìn àjò òkè òkun láti lọ kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ láì ní wàhálà owó gegele nínú o. Ẹ lè san díẹ̀díẹ̀ àbí ẹ máa san ní ráńpẹ́ráńpẹ́. Ẹ kàn sí Elukas Travels and Tours ní Fed Plaza kìlómítà 1 Abẹ́tú junction Abiola Way nílùú Abẹ́òkúta ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn 0703-930-1361 tàbí 0909-997-7003. Elukas Travels ló ní àyè san díẹ̀díẹ̀ ti wà láti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àti kàwé nílẹ̀ òkèèrè.
Fún ìtẹ̀síwájú ayẹyẹ ọdún kẹta ti Frapjust Family Estate and Investment Limited tí ń talẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn fọ́mọ Nàìjíríà. Ẹ̀dínwó sì ń lọ lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ wa gbogbo. Divine Grace ní Rounda 100,000 naira dípò 150,000 naira. Ilẹ̀ Pàkújọ Bàdànkò àti Diamond Estate nítòsí Buhari Estate lọ́nà Kọ̀bàpẹ́ 200,000 naira dípò 300,000 naira. Ilẹ̀ oko fáwọn àgbà afọkọ́sọ̀rọ̀ ní Ọ̀bà àti Ọbádàjì ẹ̀mí 30,000 naira dípò 40,000 naira. Pẹ̀lú ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ yín Frapjust Farmers Club yóò bá yín ṣètò dídáko àti kíkórè oko nírọ̀rùn. Àǹfààní wà fún gbẹ̀tán tàbí san díẹ̀díẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe ń san owó ilẹ̀ yín ẹ ó tún máa gba àwọn ẹ̀bùn ọdún oríṣiríṣi. Adùn ibẹ̀ gangan ni wípé ẹni tó bá san 50,000 naira nínú owó ilẹ̀ yóò gbàdá fún draw ticket. Èyí tí ẹni mẹ́ta ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ yóò ti fi 1 million naira ṣèfàjẹ́. Gbogbo ẹ̀ fún ayẹyẹ ọdún kẹta yìí náà ni o. Láti àkókò yìí títí lọ di ọjọ́ kẹẹ̀dógún oṣù kẹsàn-án ọdún tá a wà nínú rẹ̀ yìí ní àǹfààní yìí máa dópin o. Láti pẹ̀lú àwọn olóríire jẹ àǹfààní yìí ẹ tètè máa bọ̀ ní Jídé Jones Way beside Aira Kitchen Òkèléwú Abẹ́òkúta tololo 0702 5636 0702 5636. Má kàn ra lẹ̀ ṣá ìfọkànbalẹ̀ ní kó rà.
Honey, must you go?
Baby, no, I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Iléeṣẹ́ First January Agro Investment Limited ti ṣetán láti bá ìwọ náà múra ọjọ́ ọ̀la rẹ sílẹ̀. Ìwọ ṣàtìrí dájú pé ó pẹ̀lú ọ̀kan nínú àwọn àgbẹ̀ tí wọ́n fẹ́ gbin igi ọ̀pẹ fún níparí oṣù September ọdún yìí. Éèkà kan ilẹ̀ 850,000 naira péré ní báyìí. Ìwọ ló máa ní éèkà kan ilẹ̀ yẹn títí láíláí. Igi ọ̀pẹ 60 tó bá tún wà lórí ilẹ̀ ọ̀hún ìwọ ló tún ní. Kò tán síbẹ̀ o, odidi ọdún márùn-ún gbáko ni wàá fi máa gba ìdá márùn-ún owó tó fi gbin igi ọ̀pẹ náà lọ́dọọdún. Bí ó bá ti wá di ọdún kẹfà wọ́n á fọ oko ọ̀pẹ rẹ lé ọ lọ́wọ́ lọ́dọọdún. Epo ìsebẹ̀ tí ọ̀pẹ rẹ á máa fún ọ 750 litres ó kéré tán wàá máa rí 450,000 naira lórí epo nìkan ni o. Má bẹ̀rù torí abẹ́rẹ́ tó lókun nídìí nílé iṣẹ́ First January Agro Investment Limited pé 081 65 64 65 535.
bí ojúmọ́ ṣe ń mọ́ làwọn tó fẹ́ràn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ handset ni wọ́n ń pọ̀ sí i. ibi tí wọn ò bá yà sí láti ra ojúlówó ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ló ń ṣe wọ́n lọ́kàn kámi torí wọ́n ń ṣẹ́jú sí wọn lọ́tún ni wọ́n tún ń pè wọ́n lọ́sì. ó yẹ ẹ jẹ́ kí wọn ó gbọ́ ká má wulẹ̀ ṣẹ́jú sí oníbàárà mọ́. ọ̀dọ̀ símọ̀ tó ń ta ojúlówó ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ni wọ́n ń bọ̀. àbí ṣẹ́ẹ̀pẹ́ mọ̀ ni. símọ̀ òkè téńté ló wà lórí tábìlì àwọn tó ń ta ojúlówó ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀. bẹ́ẹ̀ èrè àjẹjù kò tún sí lọ́rọ̀ wọn kì í pààrọ̀ bátìrì tó bá fóònù wá torí àtúntò tà á fẹ́ lómi ní fọ́lùkọ́. símọ̀ mà ní àyè san díẹ̀ kó gba fóònù kó máa wá sanwó tó kù díẹ̀díẹ̀. ilé ìta fóònù símọ̀ ló fi ìyàn lọ́kàn balẹ̀ jùlọ. ó yá gbé fún símọ̀ ní torí àǹfààní ń bẹ fún oníbàárà tó bá bá wa ra fóònù lóṣooṣù láti fi ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú ṣèfàjẹ́. ó lè jẹ́yìn lẹ máa jẹ ẹ̀bùn tó ṣù yìí. gbogbo ẹ̀ ó dòkè téńté lókè léwó. bí láfẹ́ wọn bá súnmọ́ ẹ̀yìn àdójúkọ First Bank láfẹ́ wa gangan ní símọ̀ wà. ó yẹ pé 08064476837. símọ̀.
It's time to close shop on all the radio stations.
In person. And the award goes to...
Oh my God! The king is now in the city.
Thank you.
Welcome to Splash 106.7 FM Abeokuta.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Thank you very much for staying with us. For those who are watching the live stream on Facebook, you'll have seen some sort of gesticulation in the background. We got engrossed in an interesting conversation. We'll keep our lips sealed in that regard, so you'd exactly know what it was that we're talking about. But it was an interesting conversation regardless. We'll take one more story and open up the phone lines for you to be part of this. And it's this story from the NLC that have called for a downward review of media operating licenses. I mean, it concerns radio stations, TV stations, and all of that. Do you support the call of the NLC?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because the cost of operating this station, now whether radio, in fact, television is worse. Radio, yes, you can have some of this low transmitter, low power transmitter and all that you can run, but with television, it's much, much difficult to operate a TV station. And that's the reason why the National Broadcasting Commission came up with the idea of signal distributors. So what happens is, you don't know when you get your license, you don't even have to start building structures, getting transmitters, getting masts and all that. You just go there because there are two signal distributors. Just go there with your content in your bag, and it becomes easy. Dish your content out. If public loves your content, they will listen to it, and you don't have to look for money through your nose. But for now, that's what is happening. So I support it because the cost of maintaining a station is so huge. The stations are given a leeway, they're giving some way to reduce the amount of money being paid to NBC. For instance, the cost of a license for 5 years, about 20 million. Then at the end of the 5 years, first 5 years, then you begin to pay 4 million on a yearly basis. Apart from that, it's even inside the law that you still need to pay another 2.5% of whatever you make in a year as a station. That one too is killing. Although it depends on what you make. If you don't make it, fine, good and bad, but you have to pay this in the law. And that's one thing about the law. The hula baloo about 53 stations being shut down, is because the law is there. The National Broadcasting Law, the 1992 Act 38 now, not even decree again, stipulates that the biggest offense of a station is, one, if you don't pay monies that you are supposed to pay to the station, you don't pay for license fees, you don't pay for your fine, and you don't pay this 2.5% or 1.5% because stations have been, canvassing for reducing it, to 1.5%.
Right.
If you don't pay, it's a grade A offense. Another grade A offense is once you broadcast to disturb the territorial integrity of Nigeria, that unity, the togetherness of Nigeria that's the reason why the station that was fined for 5 million, the stations that carry the interview, with the Boko Haram man,
Right.
because they believe that you are accentuating it. You are trying to bring disruption to the country.
Members of Discord.
Members of Discord and all that. So it's a grade A offense too. That's the reason why those stations were shut. Non-payment of fees. And what the law says is you just have to pay. Even if you get the license and you don't run your station for between 1 and 2 years, you get your license forfeited. I have seen a big man in this country, big man, in the sense of being a big man, who got a license and didn't run it for 2 years. I was in NBC then as a director. We collected the license. That's the law, and that is what is happening. But with regards to this call by NSC, it's just to make sure that the circumstances of the moment, the economic configuration of the country now that is sniffing life out of everybody.
Stifling.
Yes, life of everybody is terrible. I mean, if you go to the market, stations run on diesel. Diesel is, at times, 800 per liter.
Right.
So it's because the country has refused to do what it ought to do. Not refining the crude oil and all that. So I support it. If the MBC is able to bring it down, the 20 million, if they're able to bring it down to 10 million, I think it will work in the interest of everybody because people need to listen to
what's happening. Right. All right. So few calls. We have to wrap it up in about 2 minutes now. 0817-444-1067, 0705-050-1067, as well as 0817-444-1067. So let me read the comments that we have on Facebook. Peter Bolaji says, good morning, Splash. Father Eddy, I hail you, sir. You are indeed a role model, not an analyst that will be praising one presidential candidate and ABC each time you're on radio, Panorama. I'm always happy. God bless you, sir. To Governor Yetola, posterity will judge him. Okay, on WhatsApp, here it is. Good day, sir. Eddy, the issue on hand is that of winning elections.
Yeah.
It could be likened to a football match. Any good coach would use different strategies to win matches. You don't have to maintain the same team at all times. It all depends on the game plan of your opponents. Therefore, APC has their strategies. Likewise, PDP. On the issue of Governor Wike, PDP will buy their fingers after the elections in 2023. Ashiwaja Adisa from Abeokuta. Let's take one call and wrap it all up. We have a call already. Again, the number is 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, as well as 0705 050 1067. We lost that call. If we can make it back in time, we'll take it as soon and as much as we can. And let me check Twitter in the interim. There is no tweet. Okay, here it is. We have a few. Actually, Otubai Janla says, should Wike move to APC, then he has no shame. However, if it happens, it will be insignificant to the total outcome of 2023 elections. Nigerians are woke and can't be fooled. No leader can tell Nigerians who to vote for. Okay, that's it. I think it's just about time to wrap it all up. We couldn't get those calls through, and we appreciate Eddy Aina for coming through this morning from 8 o'clock. I appreciate a great deal, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, then. So that's it. Tomorrow, Boyega as well as Miriam will be here to take us through Panorama from 8 o'clock. So join them then. Right after this, you'll have a few more commercials. And at 10 o'clock, Janwasi will begin for sports lovers out there. I am Benga Fayong. Have a fantastic day.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
I like talk radio.
Welcome to your